Well, welcome everyone to today's episode of Productive Agent Podcast. Productive Agent is powered by Aubrey Home Loans. And today we have our guest, our special guest, Stephanie Aragon. I hope I pronounced that right, Stephanie.
You did.
So good. Well, welcome to the show. Great to have you here.
Thanks for the warm welcome. Thank you.
Yeah,
Happy to be here.
of course. So I always start off with, how long have you been in real estate, and how did you wind up in real estate? Very, very few people like come out of either high school or college and like go right into real estate. I mean, some do, but very, very, very few. So how did you wind up here?
So it's kind of funny for me because my background was pharmaceutical research, and
So,
in 2008 when the economy went bad, research was the first to kind of
get cut.
take a cut. So I had to find a new endeavor. So I started working for a development construction company, and I was a administrative assistant for a project manager. Stayed there for a little while, and then I ended up going back into research. But I don't know, I just kept getting pulled back to the industry. So I ended up getting a job at Wasatch Property Management, working for Deloitte Hansen.
Okay.
And that's where I gained a lot of my experience in the field. I strongly suggest that anybody that wants to go into real estate or property management, find places like that to work, because I gained a lot of knowledge there, and then a lot of opportunity, because that opened the door to, I started working for Oakwood Corporate Housing.
Sure.
And I started as a field services rep for them, and then I ended up landing the position. It's like the top position there. It was a coordinator, account coordinator. So my clients were like IM Flash, Adobe. What I would do is I would house high-level executives that come here for work.
Got it.
For 30 days or more. So it was kind of a corporate relo, military relo. That's where I gained really all of my knowledge in the real estate field. I was handing off clients left and right to Century 21.
Right.
And I went to my regional, and I just was like, can I get my real estate license? And he wasn't against it. He said, no, you can get it, because I was like, I could capture that business, because I was the step before these executives would find their permanent home. So,
right.
There was a lot of lost opportunity. So that's mainly why I went into real estate. I've been in it for I did all the courses, everything, went through all the classes back in 2013. And then I went full-time into real estate 5 years ago.
Got it.
I hit the ground running, and I think it was a lot of it was because I had that experience.
Right.
Other positions. I was
Well, real estate is a project manager.
Yeah.
It really is. You got the family lives here and they want to live here. Well, that's a project, and you got to, and I always say, they got the husband, the wife, the 3 kids, a cat, the dog, and a turtle, it's you got to get them all moved.
Exactly. Yeah. It's so I've just been doing it ever since then. And it's been the best decision I've ever made. Honestly, I love it. I always say that real estate is not a career, it's a lifestyle.
Right.
We're sacrificing a lot. We don't get to get birthdays, holidays, like everyone else. But I don't want to say it's a good trade-off, because I don't want to make it seem like I'm trading my family time.
Right. No, and I think we have our own time, like when my kids were little, obviously we'd do some nights and weekends, but I also could show up at 10 a.m. at their school, where if you had a regular job, you were home in the evening, but you couldn't get those other moments. So
exactly. Well, and when I was working for Oakwood, it was like I was taking that work home, and you're not, I mean, they took care of us. I'm not going to say it was a bad place to work because I loved working there. But in contrast, we know what kind of money you can make in real estate. Like, let's
Right.
be real, And so when we're putting in those hours, we're putting them in for us,
Right.
not for a corporation.
Right. Oh yeah, that's the thing. I'll work 20 hours a day for me. I mean, I'll give
Yeah.
somebody else 5, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, things are great though. I mean, I can't complain. I don't know. I know that a lot of people are feeling, the winds of change with the current landscape, but I've just kind of shifted my focus towards cash buyers.
Right.
We kind of just have to evolve with the change.
Right. Figure out where the market is and go there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Willie Sutton, right? You ever heard, the name Willie Sutton?
I
So
don't.
he was a bank robber, and they asked him, like in the old days, and they asked him why he robbed the bank, and he says, "Well, that's where they keep the money." You know, it's like,
That's right.
hello,
Follow the money.
yeah. So, and that's what we need to do, and that's
Yeah.
why, we were talking about that, that apartment complex direct mail marketing thing that I was talking about. I think there's opportunity there, and it's
Yeah.
for the same reason. Follow where's the opportunity?
Mhm. I think just, in this industry, we're able to figure out some pretty complex situations, in terms of, things come up in any transaction that
Right.
we have to apply critical thinking
Yep.
skills. So it works the same in drumming up business. I feel like you're
Right.
just you're figuring it out. You're figuring it out like how do we how do we make this happen,
Right.
Yeah, without having to go um apply at Target or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they either one you get a script. So Target will give you a script. So if you don't
Yeah,
like a real estate scripts, learn your Target script, right?
exactly.
So, right, like if I were an agent right now on the streets, I would be chasing non-owner occupied, absentee owners.
Mhm.
Not necessarily like I would eliminate all the LLCs and whatnot because those are usually renters. And right now, the people aren't really selling rental properties because they're cash cows. But I would be chasing absentee owners for you just never know because they're
Yeah.
good. They're listing. They don't have to buy something else, and so it's a good listing. A good listings, money in the bank.
And
You
that's
know,
mostly what I'm getting right now are listings, which I'm
yeah.
very grateful
Knock
for.
on wood, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but they're, unless you're pricing them right, they're not moving. So,
Right.
and a lot of that obviously has to do with our clientele. Like,
Right.
we educate them the best we can, but at the end of the day,
They have
they,
to be motivated.
yeah, they tell us where they want to price it. But, um, I mean, the biggest, I guess, I just get a lot of people saying, "Oh, I don't want to let my house go for that much." Market is what it is. It was
Right.
overinflated to begin with. We all know
Right.
that. So I think it's just educating our clients and letting them know, like, I just don't like binding people to things. I just tell them if we get to this number, then we sell it. If we don't get to where you feel comfortable, but you have to trust me, we have to list it where I tell you to. I had a
Right.
client this summer, and she said, I have to get to 420. There's no way around that. And I said, okay, well, we're gonna list it at 400. And she said, no, I can't do that, it freaked her out.
Right.
We'll get to 420, but you have to trust me. And if we don't get to that number, we just walk away.
Right.
And she said, okay, I trust you. So we listed her home and we got 420.
Right.
So, you know, it's
And people don't get that. You can't
yeah,
underprice it because if you would have listed it at 420, it might have languished for a little while and you might have wind up at 410. But
yeah,
because you went under, you cause a little frenzy and they're like, oh, I gotta have it. So 420.
yeah. I tell them, like, if we price it right, we can count on probably 5% negotiation. If we price it wrong, we're gonna probably be more along the lines of 20, 10.
Right.
I mean, I know that's a big stretch,
When you're
but
not even negotiating, you're correcting.
yeah, you're correcting. That's exactly it. Like, it's hard when you hear people say, well, I am giving up. I gave away. I lost this much already. And it's like, no, you just adjusted to what the
You
market's.
never had it. Yeah,
Yeah.
you didn't lose anything. You never had it.
Yeah. Can't lose what you don't
Yeah,
have.
if you paid that much and you're selling for less, then you lost it. But
Yep.
you paid 200, it's
Yeah,
like, quit
exactly.
crying, you know?
Yeah. I know, I think that people just don't understand, like, you're still getting a great return on your
Yeah.
investment, but
Well, and a lot of them don't realize that the price has nothing to do with what you want,
mhm.
you know, because I mean, how sellers come up with the price. They're like, let's see, I owe 200. I want to pay off the credit card, the car, and the boat. I got to pay you a commission, and I want 25 grand too. So I'm like, what are you talking about? It has nothing to do with
Yeah,
the, let's look at the comparable sales,
yeah,
So,
yeah,
but it's funny.
yeah, it is. But yeah, I mean, what are you experiencing in your world?
It's, rates. I mean, younger buyers are just that they're struggling to get by. Like I said, I got one we're working with. We had to get 8,000 in seller. Fortunately, he's related to the agent, so the agent was using their commission for closing costs. So we are able to use seller concessions to buy down the rates.
Mhm.
Otherwise he couldn't buy the house. You know,
Yeah,
so I
yeah,
mean, it's just
a lot
he's
of
a
that.
young man and well qualified on every aspect except for wages aren't going up as fast as house prices,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah,
just the way it is.
yeah. It's pretty insane right now, but I'm hopeful. I don't want to have this gloom and doom mentality. I
Nope.
think that's the I just not here for it. I think it's still a healthy market. I'm doing great. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm doing good. I mean, considering, I mean, it's developing a new practice
yes.
of, getting momentum going, but I'm starting to kick into momentum, and I'm putting out other things,
Mhm.
so I have some agents that are bringing me referring people to me, and then I'm partnering up. I have 8 agents I'm partnering up with. We'll be doing over 4,000, or no, I'm sorry. We have over 30, we have like 3,300 postcards. I'm looking to get a few more agents and to get up to like 4,000 postcards a month,
Right.
going to renters. I mean, and that takes a few months. You're not going to send out a mailer and, I mean, it's possible, but, it takes about 4, 5, 6 months before you really start to see like any kind of consistency.
Right. I think that's you're hitting a good point. I have a lot of friends that I talk to in the industry and they say, "Well, I tried this and I tried that." But then when you ask the question, "Well, how long did you
Right.
try
I tried
for?"
it once.
Yeah, it's like that's
Well,
not
that's nothing.
that's not going to work. You have to stay consistent at something. I would say
A
for a
year
year.
minimum. Yeah.
Yeah, like for me, I really focus a lot on my sphere,
Right.
on social media. I mean, we have, this amazing technology at our fingertips.
Right.
And like we have to utilize that. For me, I know that when I share my volume, a
Right.
lot of agents don't like doing that because they're like, oh, people can tell how much money I make and da, da, da. But you just got to educate them. Like we don't go walking off and, skipping off into the sunset with these big old checks. We have people
Right.
paid.
We have expenses. We have splits,
Exactly.
taxes,
So,
No, yeah.
but when you share your volume, it does a couple of things. One, it shows people that the market's still moving. People are
Right.
still making moves, right? And it also shows that it shows your experience. It shows that you know what you're
Right.
doing,
You have, you're successful and people are drawn to success.
They are.
You
They
know, I
are.
mean, if you need heart surgery, you're not like, is this your first one? Give me the other guy, It's
Yeah.
like people want to know that you've done this a lot.
Mhm.
And that's the way we are. We have to be on like on a listing appointment. You have a family, and like I said, we're a project manager. They have to, family here and they got to be here. They want you to look them in the eye and say, "Hey, I got this." You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Do you want, I got it. We just let me do my job and I'll get you there. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean we're not going to get, some scratch and dents going through the way, but I mean, but we're going to get on the other side,
Right. Right. Yeah. So
and they need that confidence.
they do. And so when you celebrate your success, you celebrate your month. If you had a good month, celebrate that because it just shows people that they can have confidence too in buying or selling, you know, and again, you know what you're doing. So
Right.
I share my volume. And to be honest, at my brokerage, we they focus a lot on our success. So what I like is that they'll give us a marketing piece if we sell million or more a month. And I tell you what, that marketing piece, it will bring me 10, 11 new clients every month, every single month. And even if they're dead leads, it doesn't matter. If I can close half of them, who
Right.
cares? You know?
Right. Well, it's a numbers game.
Yeah, it is.
It's like you have to like, yeah, you have to like, you know, I mean, you get more no's than yeses. I mean, it's just that simple.
Yeah. And you know who your bread and butter is? It's those 3 to 5, the 3 to 5 range, 300
Right.
to 500,000. Because when people start seeing those price ranges selling, like that they're buying and selling, that's where they're like, okay, that's about where I land, income with their income and where they want to be with monthly payment. And so that's where I start getting a lot of my clients from.
Right.
People ask me all the time, where do you find all your clients? They find me. What is
Right.
meant to be mine will find me.
What an attitude. I love it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's true. I mean, I believe in all that, the power of traction, but power of traction, I mean, the power of attraction. I mean, I believe in it, but I also, it doesn't mean you can just sit on a hill with your finger in your belly button and hum. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? In other words, you got to get out there. You got to be in the flow.
Mhm.
Real estate's flowing all around us. You got to be in that mix. You got to
Yes.
be, and people have to know that that's who you are and what you do. And so, so there's the power of attraction, but there's also the power of action.
Yes. I
You
I
know,
agree with you 100%. We can sit here and pretend we can throw something into the universe and it will come right back to us, but
right?
it's going to take you have to get up and do something
Yeah,
to make that
you have to
happen.
convince the universe that
Yeah.
you want it bad enough. In other words, I always say you have to beat on the door. I say the universe sleeps in the back of the house. And then if you want to wake it up, you got to beat on the door long and loud till eventually the universe says they're not going away. So I better go open this darn door.
Yep, it's all cause and effect. If you're gonna sleep
Yep.
all day, you're gonna get that effect. If you're,
Yep.
but I I live and breathe real estate.
Right.
I love it. Yes.
So what's your morning routine? I mean, what time do you get up? What's your routine like?
So I try to get up pretty early, like 6, but that doesn't always happen because a lot of times I do my best work at night.
Oh,
I'm an
you're
owl.
say I'm
So
not.
yeah, I'll
I'm
be
a
I'll
morning
be
guy.
I'll be throwing files together at 3 a.m.
Oh,
and
I get up at 4, so yeah.
oh
But I
wow.
don't. But I go to bed at 8:39.
Yeah, so I do my best work at night because I feel like there's less distractions.
Yeah, it's
I
quiet.
don't
That's the
yeah,
same thing at 4 a.m.
yeah. Don't have a lot of people bothering me, but
No.
it's so my typical day, I'll wake up and usually I'll get on social media right away because one, I want to see if I got any leads overnight through
Right.
Messenger.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, that don't text me. Um, and then I wish everyone that has a birthday that comes up in my uh,
Thing, right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, on Facebook.
Right.
I wish them all a happy birthday. And the reason I do that is to keep my algorithm up on Facebook. I want to stay in front of them. And when you're interacting with people, you stay in front of them.
Right.
So I can usually gauge how many people are viewing my stuff because like if I'm sharing from Canva, let's say a marketing piece, what I'll do is I'll share it as like what is it like a video so that it will count how many views I've had.
Right.
So I can kind of see who's engaging. I know that there's not a lot of people that will like my stuff, but they're at least seeing it,
Yeah. Right.
you know? And that's all that matters because I've had so many people. Honestly, I would say 95% of my business comes from Facebook.
Is that right?
Yeah. And
That's
I focus a lot on my reviews as well.
right.
As soon as I close a deal, I just kindly ask that they, send a review. via the
A
rate.
good review.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if I did a crappy job, I guess I
We're
deserve
not
it.
asking them.
Yeah. So far I've had all 5-star reviews. I treat my clients with, I think I told you this when I talked to you last, that the best compliment I ever received from a client was, we were closing and I said, okay, I have to leave. I have to go to another closing. And they're like, oh, you have another client? Well, they didn't even realize I was working with 10 other people at the same time.
Right.
But I made them feel as such they were the only client I was working with.
That's actually a real talent, a real skill that, and I had a broker one time. Guy had, 100 something agents. He was a full-time coach for Mike Berry. I mean, the guy was, he was a busy man.
Yeah.
And if you saw him in the hallway, he was always, and if you asked him a question, he would just stop and you became the center of the universe.
Yeah.
You just felt it that, like, even though he was just passing by, if you had that question, he just like zoom and he gave you that. You just felt 100% of his attention. Versus the guy, like, you're talking to somebody and they're just like, I'm like, you feel like you're entertaining them until somebody better comes along.
Right.
It's like whatever. So
That's funny.
you know,
Yeah, you do. You have to make them feel like they're the only one, and they'll
right,
come back to you every single time. But if for 1 second they feel like they're being put on the back burner, you probably lost that client.
right,
And it happens because we get so busy that,
right,
we're like, oh my gosh, I forgot to call so and so back. Like my day, I'll revert back to my days. They're like, I am constantly on my phone. It does interfere with my family time,
right.
and it does cause problems. I'm not gonna lie. Like we've
Oh yeah,
we've really had to try to navigate around, you know, me spending quality time with family and my work. It's really hard because the second I get up, I'm on my phone, and
right,
some days to the minute that I go to sleep. And I don't think people realize that you're that busy.
right,
Like I sometimes get text messages from friends just wanting to check up on me, and I'm like, "Oh, that's so nice of them." But I don't even respond because it's like I don't have time.
right,
It seems rude, but it's it's the truth.
right. No, and I get busy, and I run and I burn, like, I burn the candle at both ends. There's the old, I heard a guy one time say, he says, you know what you get when you burn the candle at both ends? And people are like, tired, burn out and all that. He goes, no, you get more light, is what he said. I'm like, sweet. I like you. And then I'll go for like 2, 3 weeks. And then one day I'll just crash,
Yeah.
because I'll run 7 days. I mean, the weekends, I may not be working, but I still get up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'll work, and
Right.
then if my team's on in football, I'll go watch the game, and then I'll come back and, I'll do some more work.
Yeah.
So I don't really take the time off, like, I mean, unless you're going to do something. I mean, I'm like, I'm not a yard work kind of guy. So that's like, I'm a more of a no job is too small to subcontract, you know?
Yeah. I'm that guy.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Cause it's like, I can make more money not doing that than doing it. You know, people are like, well, if you hire somebody, it costs you money. I'm like, well, if I do it, I can make more money doing what I do, and then I can afford to pay that guy and still have money left over.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that. Because real estate, a lot of agents they don't treat it like a business.
Mhm.
They treat it like a job, but it could be a very good job. I mean, don't get me wrong, but the difference between a business and a job is that, at least the way I understand it is, um, if you if you if you go away for a month, will you still make money? Now, as an agent, you can, because you'll have deals that'll they'll close, but then 90 days from now, you'll have this big hole in your pipe.
Exactly. Yep. It's, I get, like I said, my family gets on me sometimes, and they're like,
Sure.
you're always on your phone, or you never want to do this, and it's like, I can't, like, there's nobody, if I call in sick, there's nobody to do it for
No,
me.
it's like, yeah. You, it's
there's
just like,
people's money's on the line. Like, this is a
right.
big deal.
Well, and also people, there's families' lives are in the balance, they don't have a place to live and they're trying, whatever, and it's a tough balance, especially when you have a family. They're like, you know, and so one of the challenges I always found earlier in my career was, when you were busy, you didn't want to go out of town, on vacation because you were busy. And then you weren't busy. You were like, now I'm afraid to go out of town because I'm not busy. I don't want to, so it's like, well, when do you go, So,
Well, the thing is if you try to go out of town, you will be
oh
busy.
yeah, that's guaranteed, that's, that
Yeah,
is not a myth. That is not folklore. That is a fact.
every single time. I'm like, why did I even try to leave? It's
Right. I always
terrible.
say, yeah. And, real estate loan officers, the same thing. We don't go on vacation. We just work from places with sand, you know?
Yeah.
So, and, so, I mean, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So, I went to a conference one time and the guy was doing, what was it? Time management, and he was, he says, look, I can give you the best time management advice in like 10 seconds. He says, if you just follow this, you'll be the most productive person in the world. He says, so it's the first day at the conference. He says, work every day like you did yesterday. Because when you're going out of town, you got this to-do list and you got to get it done because there's no option. And so you just bang it out. Did I lose you? You froze up on me. You there? Oh, you froze. Oh, that's your text. Oh, our computer shut down. So we had a little technical glitch there, but we're back, boys and girls. We're back as good as new. So,
Yeah, we are.
so we are talking about, this guy at the conference, he said, work every day like you did the day before you went out of town, because the day before you go out of town, I mean, you have so many things that have to get done and it's not optional,
Yeah,
so, and you wind up getting it done because you don't allow any distractions
yeah,
to distract you. If you didn't have
yeah,
other things going on, you're like, okay, yeah, I'll take that phone call and chat. I'll go do this or whatever. But you're like, I don't have time. I got to get this, and this done. And he says, if you work every day like that, he says, you can work 3 days a week. so,
yeah. It's the
yeah, I
truth.
thought that was great. So,
It
yeah, I
is.
remember that guy. He was from Philadelphia too. I grew up in Philadelphia, but so he like he dominated the high rise condominiums in Center City, Philadelphia.
Oh
And it turned
wow.
so he's telling a story. He was like he was the top producer in his office, and he still had a full time job during the day, you know. And he was like, so he was farming condominiums, and
Mhm.
so I thought that was pretty good. I mean, if you farm condominiums, like I just talked to an agent yesterday in Seattle, that's what she did. She farms condos, and so I'm like, man, that's pretty good. I mean, you really can't door knock. I mean, you can get the no soliciting in the buildings, but she does a lot of mailing in there, and but you can get to know those buildings inside and out to where you can become the expert in any condominium project, one at a time, and you get, 5, 6 good condo projects and like, that's all you need for a career,
Yes.
a
Yeah.
business, a sellable business.
Yes. Yeah. It's pretty
So,
neat.
I looked it up. It looked like you closed about, I don't know, 30 plus transactions in the last 12 months. That sound about right?
Yeah, it seems about right. I'm at about probably almost 13 million so far this year because I do from January to
January, December, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. When I look somebody
Uh,
up, I look up the previous 12 months.
Yeah, and I have a lot of closings coming up. So yeah, I've had a very good year, and honestly, since I started real estate, every year's been really great. I've really been lucky,
Right.
well, and I put in the work, but
Right.
it's, a lot of people do, and they still, are struggling a little bit, but
Right.
you know, from where I come from, like my people, they rally, like they support me. I grew up in Tooele County,
Did
and
you?
so that,
Okay.
yeah, that's where I do a lot of my business, but that, I don't know. It's just a good place. It's a good place to grow up, and people are great. They're supportive.
Right. They
Um,
like local, you know.
yeah, yeah, and I can't say anything bad about that town
Right.
because it they really are very supportive.
Right. Is it true it's only 30 minutes from Tooele to Salt Lake, but it's 2 hours from Salt Lake to Tooele, right? Is that what they say?
Yes, it
Yeah.
is. It's, but you know, I wish that I could still live there, honestly. I have a lot of family there, but
Where do you live
it
now?
I live in Fort Union area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's,
I'm in Cottonwood Heights, so right off of, I'm
oh
actually up,
yeah. So
I'm at Fort
we're,
Union by the, I mean, near between Fort Union and Bengal, by the city hall.
oh, okay, yeah. So we're kind of neighbors, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, little bit.
Right.
But yeah, it's good
Well, you're not
here.
in Tooele, you know.
No, I needed to be central, so
Right.
this worked for my business because I do close a lot out here as well.
Right.
But
Well, the
um,
Fort Union, the Midvale area is, I mean, it's Middle Valley, right? That's what Midvale is. I mean,
yeah,
and it's very central.
yeah,
You know, you're near the freeway, you get on 15, 215. I mean, I live near 215. I mean, I can be to the airport in 15, 20 minutes at the most, you know.
yeah,
I mean, especially if you're doing 85 going around that freeway, boom, you know.
yeah. That's what I love about, you know, our city. It's so easy to get around, and
Yeah,
we could be anywhere in 20 minutes. We could be the
right,
desert, we could be the mountains.
right,
It's really convenient and cool.
right. Yeah, exactly.
Utah's the best. I lived in Cheyenne, Wyoming for 4 years out of high school. I was a military spouse, and
Got it.
uh, I didn't like it in Cheyenne.
No,
It was really, yeah, it was too windy for me.
right. Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember crossing Wyoming the first time I moved here from Florida, and we drove up to 80 because it was November, and we were advised not to go 70 because of the mountains where you had less mountains, you know. And
Yeah.
I remember crossing, we're in Nebraska. You know, it's like you look, there's not a car, a soul in all four directions, you know.
Hmm.
And boom, next thing you know, we're in this bumper to bumper traffic on I-80. It's just a little 4-lane road. I'm like, what the hell happened here? You know, it was the football
Yeah.
game let out. Nebraska football game let out. It was on a Saturday,
Oh,
you know, and then, you know, we finally got through that, you know, and I'm like, man, can it get any more desolate? And then we hit Wyoming. I'm like, oh my
yeah.
gosh. I'm like,
Careful what you ask for.
if we don't see people soon, we're going back. You know?
Yeah, it was pretty hard living there.
Yeah.
It was rough,
So you're
but
a military spouse?
yes, yeah, I
Yeah.
was. Well,
Oh,
yeah.
was.
Um, I'm divorced now, but yeah, we were stationed there for 4 years at FE Warren Air Force Base.
Got it.
So that's another cool thing is that you know, I did the MRP, I got the MRP
Yeah, I have
designation.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I I felt like, I mean, the course was kind of, it was okay, but it's funny because you gotta understand like that lifestyle is really hard on people.
Right.
And I don't think that they really focus too much on that
Right.
portion of in that course. I don't know if you would agree or disagree, but um yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I was in the army, but I was young, single. So I mean, it wasn't hard, you know, it wasn't a family, you know.
yeah, yeah,
So,
that was really tough.
and it was 1,000 years ago. So, you know.
Yeah, it's hard on their families, and I think that it's important to understand. You and I did talk about this last week sometime. You know, how we're diving into these people's lives for 30
Oh
days
yeah.
or more, you know, and we have to really, you know, we're commiserating with them, you know, and understanding where they're coming from. A lot of these sales are emotional, you
Right.
know, with the listings especially, and then, you know, I don't know. I think buyers are usually more excited than sellers.
Right. Because
Sellers,
it's a shopping spree, you know.
yeah, yeah. And so like I was saying, you know, I've held people in my arms. We're dealing with death, divorce,
Yep. Debt,
you know,
the 3 Ds,
death.
death, divorce, and debt.
Yep. We're
Well, and
dealing
I
with
always say,
all of that.
I've said it many times, and I always teach agents, the reason why people move is because of a major life event, and that
Yeah.
could be, good or bad, but it's still, so you got marriage, divorce, birth, death, got a job, lost a job, got a better
Yeah.
job, got a job transfer, right? Kids move out, kids move back with kids. You have health, aging parents, you sell two, buy a third, I mean, it's just, and so you have this major life situation taking place. And this is where I think agents need to really be taught on this is
Yeah.
you're dealing with a major life situation, and then you show up, right? It's like, okay,
Yeah.
can you handle this major life situation without bringing your personal problems into the mix? And
Hmm.
so here you have this major life situation. Then you get into Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right?
Yeah.
Where, shelter's one of them. And so right now their shelter's being disrupted. So deep in their psychology, they're not feeling the love, you know what I mean? Not from
Yeah.
you or anything like that. It's just things they're on edge. Then
Yeah.
then you take a family that's selling, say, a $450,000 house, and they're buying a $700,000 house, right? So now they're involved in, and their monthly income might be, 11 or 12,000 a month, right? And
Hmm.
so, but now they're in the middle of like $1.2 million worth of a business transaction. So you start combining all that, right? You got the major life event, the disruption of shelter. They're well beyond their financial DNA, and
Hmm.
it's and then we do it full time. They're doing it at lunch and after work, right?
Yeah.
Think about it. And
Yeah.
it's like, I mean,
Mhm.
we're forcing them to squeeze all that in, at lunch break and after work. And so,
Yeah.
so
That's what makes it really hard is that like we're dealing with, you know, we have like right now, I have one situation where, you know, I'm dealing with a divorce, I'm dealing with one that was it's death and a lot of emotions, like probably 5 different transactions right now have their own set of emotional baggage.
right.
And, you know, we're taking that in and then we have to go home and let it go.
Right. Yeah,
Because
you can't
it does
carry it with
follow
you.
you. Especially if you're a human being, you know, obviously you care about people. I do.
Right.
That's one thing I wish I could change about me a little bit is that I get a little too emotionally involved.
It takes a while to learn to all we
Yeah.
can do is help them, love them,
Mm.
and then, I
Yeah.
mean, that's it. I mean, they make decisions.
Yeah. It's just, I guess because I'm an empath, I take on that energy
Right.
and I just need to be better about knowing how to release it, you know, and not
Right.
take it home with me because sometimes, yeah, I do get in these moods where I'm like, I get really quiet and it's not because of anybody at home. It's
Right.
because I'm trying to process what I
Yeah.
just went through, you
Right.
know, with this family. And it's like, but we learn how to get through it. It's just, you know, after 5 years, I still don't know how to let it go,
Right.
you
Yeah, it
know?
takes a while. You just have to remember that it's, we didn't get them in the situation, we're getting them out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's no guarantee they're going to come out unscathed. I mean, some of these circumstances they're brutal, and our job is to, get them on the other end without getting beat up too bad.
Yeah.
The least
Yeah.
amount of it's the least amount of damage. I mean, that's our objective at that point.
Yeah.
I
It's
mean, even
really,
like I said, I did all those descriptions I gave you, and that even under good circumstances, they still have all that shelter disruption, financial DNA. They're like, and
yeah.
that's under good circumstances.
Yeah.
So, and then life altering circumstances, it just gets compounded and compounded with the process.
Yeah.
And that's why, being a listing agent is harder because listing agent requires more leadership skills and because you have to lead them through the process.
Yep.
You just have to be a leader. You got to
Mhm.
take the bull by the horns now we were talking about that in the CE class the other day. I asked a question. I said, let's say you have a listing that's 500,000, and a buyer or an agent calls you up, says, I got a buyer that, and they're in financial trouble and it's not going to sell for 500. We know it. The whole marketplace knows it's not going to sell for 500. The only one that doesn't know it's the seller. And so, we have a duty to the seller. But if a buyer's agent calls you up and says, hey, will your seller take 475? And if you know that it's worth 475, it's
Mhm.
never going to sell for 500. If they don't sell soon, they're going to have financial issues. And
Yep.
so the question is, if I say, yeah, let's do the deal at 475, did I violate my fiduciary duty and did I weaken their bargaining position, or did I do the actual job they hired me to do? And that was to get them out of trouble.
Yeah, you're right. It gets so tricky.
And there's no right answer. I'm not
Yeah.
asking for a right or wrong answer. I just want people to think,
Yeah,
it
it does. It gets tricky, like, especially when it comes to fiduciary duty, because, obviously we always want to do the right thing, but it's like, gosh, something and you can navigate it to where it's going to work, but it's like, I can't see,
Right.
it gets tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, so, because if you don't sell it, then they have more trouble. So you got to pick your poison,
you do. You do.
and
It's
ultimately
not,
they sign it,
this job isn't as easy as people think,
No,
I
people think
have
we
so many
show
people.
three houses and make 15 grand, it's like, get out of
Yeah,
here.
yeah, it's really hard. I don't know. It's, I
It can
guess
be
if you're
emotionally
only
taxing
doing,
for sure.
yeah. Well, especially when you're working on, multiple transactions,
Right.
that's where it gets tricky, because it's like, oh, where was I? And I try not to take on more than what I can handle. Like, I'll split
Right.
deals with people because sometimes I get too busy, so I'm like,
Do you have an
okay.
assistant or no?
No, I tried that, and I realized that I'm a control freak.
Yeah.
I love to know what's going
Very
on with my
common.
files. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love to know what's going on with my files, because I feel like if I don't know, um, so I recently left to a different brokerage out in Tooele, and I was struggling. I tried to use TC because I don't like dot loop. I know that that's probably an unpopular opinion, but I do not like it.
Well, I don't like the company either.
Yeah, so it just was really hard for me to. It just didn't feel user intuitive. It just felt like we were double doing work, and I'm really a fan of Skyslope, so it just got really hard to, like, using that program. I felt like I would refer back to, like, playing the Oregon Trail when you're a kid. It just felt like an old DOS system or something. It just felt
Right.
terrible. And so my point on that is that, I tried to use TC, and she was great. Like, she was awesome, but she was almost too awesome, because I'm like, I don't know, I'm like, oh, where's my earnest money receipt? And then she's like, oh, I got it right here. Like, I just didn't like that feeling of me not knowing what was
Yeah.
going on.
I think you didn't, from the little information that I just got, I would say you didn't try it long enough.
Yeah.
Because once you cross over that chasm, if you will, you'll be like, man, what was I thinking doing it all myself?
I know, because
once you,
it's not about money for me. Like, I want to pay someone what they're worth, but and for helping me, it's just it's my own
right.
stuff.
Yeah. I'm the complete opposite. Why do that when somebody else can do it?
Yeah, I'm like that with the grass, with cutting the grass and
Right.
whatnot, but I don't know. I really want to try, there's a really good TC. I want to try him. But she was great too. I just don't know. She probably can't stand me at this point. She's probably like, oh my gosh, you were a mess.
Well, and it takes a while to learn, because you have to trust that they can do it. Because once you take that off your plate, you have two options at that point. One is have more time to spend with your family,
Yeah.
or you can make more money. Either,
Yeah.
it's your choice. The cool part is you have a choice.
Yeah. Yeah, no, It's a good point, and I could take your advice, my own advice on that, just like we were talking about with the whole marketing thing. It's like you didn't try it long enough,
Right.
you know? So yeah, you're right.
Yeah, because once you get used to it, then because you have to trust them, because like you said, well, here it is, she had it, so you just have to
Yeah.
trust she has everything.
Yeah, that's what I need to get past
Yeah.
is just knowing that it's done, you know?
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
And then once you trust them and once you have that person, man, there's nothing like it.
Yeah.
Because then it
Well,
frees you up to do a lot of things, like either make more money or have more time. And either
yeah.
one, and they're both good.
I think
So
for me, it's not so much, okay, well, there was a portion of it was that I was worried that it wasn't getting done, but I think the bigger part is like, I hate bothering people for
right.
things that I can do in 2 seconds. Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah. Once I got over it, man, I never looked back. you know, I
Maybe
just
that's what I'm afraid of.
yeah.
Not knowing
Well,
how to do it anymore.
right. Well, and I'm okay with it. Like, where in the mortgage, I'm like, we had the softwares that we have, and I switched companies a couple times, because I don't know, I wasn't sure what I'm looking for in a mortgage company. I got one, I'm like, oh, this is terrible. And I went to another one, said this was better, but they were getting hammered on rates. So I went to the
Yeah.
mortgage broker world, and they're like, and each one has a different software they use. And our software, mortgage software, is like nothing. I mean, or real estate transaction software is nothing compared to what we get.
Yeah.
I mean, we got that inch file, inch thick file, and it's in there
Yeah.
somewhere, you know, I mean, you
Yeah.
got, man, jobs and credits and, oh man, letters of explanation. So I had
So
one
how long
where,
have you been? Oh, go
go ahead.
ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna ask how long you've been in the whole lending game.
So I started last December,
Oh, cool. Okay.
but I mean, so technically I'm a new loan officer, but 31 years in real estate, I know
Yeah, no,
loans.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're not brand new.
No.
And
And
you're very well respected. So I'm happy to be on here with you today.
oh, I thank you for the kind words. I mean, it's my honor. And I say this all the time when I have these meetings. It's like, I mean, we know each other. We may have spoken here and
Yeah.
there, whatever, but we've never hung out,
Yeah,
and it's fun to get to actually hang out with people. It's
it
like,
is. Yeah.
when I first developed the podcast, I mean, I did this with a plan, like I drove it, I decided on you know, what type of podcast I was going to do. So it's going to be real estate, and they call it circular. So you just talk around the topic versus linear, where, today's topic is.
Yeah.
And so, and, so I chose it, my avatar is, real estate agents. That's who we're talking to predominantly.
Hmm.
And, and I studied what software and all that, so I had the whole thing planned out, and then I had to get a list of people to start going with, and I've been doing this, I don't know how long I've been doing it. It's quite a while now, and I mean, not a full year, but, but then, but the one thing I never counted on was, man, I'm hanging around with some cool people. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like,
No, that's what's awesome about this industry is that, gosh, there's so many supportive agents and so many people we can learn from. Like I've learned from a first year agent. I've
right,
learned from a 30-year agent. Like I think a lot of this is just being humble and
right.
understanding that we can learn from each other. And, all of us have something to bring to the table.
Yep.
We need to encourage each other and bring each other up. I never look at this like a competition. Like, if I do at any point, it's healthy competition. It's like, I want to be as good as this person or that person.
Right,
If I could beat that person's numbers, I know I'm doing great, type
right,
thing. Um, but it's all healthy. Like
right.
there's no reason to hate on people.
No,
Um, for their success, trust that they're putting in hours that you probably aren't,
right.
if they're doing better than you, then, learn from them. Don't
There's
hate
a
on them.
reason why.
Yeah. And like, I like to take care of agents as well. Like if I do a transaction with someone, I like to send them a closing gift,
Right,
for being professional, for getting us either side to the closing table.
Well, we have
And
the same objective, get the deal
yeah,
done.
yeah. And
I mean,
sometimes like there's only been a few agents that I've talked to on the phone where they're like kind of, well, I've been in the industry 30 years and
oh,
basically like I know more than you type stuff. And
I
it's
love
like,
those.
yeah, and it's like, come on, you got to be humble.
Right.
I mean, I appreciate the ones in this industry for that long because, you know, like right now we are so lucky to be in this industry right now. We have technology at our fingertips. We don't have to go check out keys. We don't have to
No,
use a
run
paper
around and
map.
get signatures.
Yeah, we're in the best position you could be in real estate.
Right.
And all of these 30-year agents, 20-year agents, they've paved the way for us, and I
Right.
respect them. I
Yeah.
do.
When I first got in it, there was no faxes I think were just coming out, but they weren't any good. They were that old thermal
Yeah,
paper, and nobody would
yeah.
touch them. The lenders wanted pure white. I mean, lenders wanted wet signature. So like you had
Hmm.
the carbon paper. So every time somebody signed it, you pulled the bottom out and handed it to them.
Yeah, but
So I'll tell you a quick story on I've been in I'm the top producer thing, So
yeah.
I had a deal one time. So I was in a big box broker. My broker comes to me, goes, Rob, he goes, I got this agent. It's our first deal, and he goes, the buyer's a real SOB. And so I thought of you. I'm like, was I insulted or complimented, right? And so it turns out it was the girl's father, and he was brutal. He had everybody, and she had no way of controlling him. I mean, based on their relationship dynamic,
Mhm.
she could not control him. And so I stepped in and I got the story, got him squared away. I'm like, he wanted things and he wasn't going to get it. I'm like, you're just not going to get it. So you have to buy this land, because if he didn't buy the lot in front of his house, there was they would have developed it and put up 2 manufactured houses, and he didn't want that. I'm like, then you got to buy it. Well, I want to pay less. Too bad. So I got him under control. Then I called the listing agent up and I explained to her, I said, I just wanted to let you know that, I'm taking over the file, and I have the buyer. Here's where we're at and what we're willing to do and this and that. And then she started blah, 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 blah. And I said, it sounds like you're too emotionally tied into this transaction. And she went off. She's like, I'll have you know, I'm the number one this and the number one that, and blah, 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 on and on and on and on. And then when she finally stopped, I said, but yet you can only get this transaction as far as a rookie could. And she was so angry, she couldn't even speak. She was like, bleh, bleh. But then she hung up. Look,
That's why we keep you on the team. You're a straight shooter. Love it.
and then like an hour later, I get a call from the principal broker. He says, I'll be taking over the file. I'm like, good. I got my guy under control. You get your client under control. Let's close and get paid. He says, sounds like a plan to me.
Yeah, that's right.
But she couldn't even speak, man. She was so angry. Oh my God, it was hilarious.
Yeah, they're the worst ones. I mean, and their own demise. Like
Right.
we both have a common objective, like you said, and
Get the deal done.
there's no reason for it.
Yeah.
When you start getting nasty like that, it's like you're only doing your client disservice.
Right.
It's really unnecessary. But for the most part, I feel like everyone in the industry is really great. Like
Yes.
everyone, I've maybe come across 2 or 3 in 5 years that are kind of, yeah, it's like, what in the heck is wrong with you? Where did you get your license?
Where'd you get your training? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I always say, look, they're like, well, I have to represent my client. I'm like, yeah, you do. And your client hired you to sell the house. I remember one time I was talking to the listing agent. I'm like, we're trying to buy the house. It's like, you're in the way.
Well, it just looks crazy on the industry. Like, first and foremost, yeah, we have a fiduciary duty to our client, but what about, protecting our industry, making it like people already don't trust us.
Right.
I mean, let's call it what it is.
Right.
And, if they see us bickering and not being able to get along, it's like,
we're just feeding the fire.
Why did I hire you people? Yeah.
Right.
It just makes us look stupid. So it's like, support your industry and like be professional.
Right.
I don't know.
I remember telling a seller one time, I said, look, 90% of what I do is, or no, 10% of what I do is I protect you from people. I protect you from people that, and agents that know what they're doing. I said the other 90% is I protect you from those that don't have a clue to what they're doing.
Yeah.
We got halfway through
Double-edged
that
sword.
file and she's like, man, you weren't kidding, were you? Holy crap.
Yeah. It's really rough. It's funny.
And I tell agents, I teach this agents, I'm like, look, if you represent your client so much that the deal failed, well, then you failed. I mean, they hired you to get the deal done.
Exactly.
It's like, I don't get some of these agents,
I don't either.
I mean, we had one, I remember it was a buyer and it was the listing agent, well-known agent too, broker, principal broker. And, he just said, oh man, he says, let's get out of this deal. I don't want to work with these people. He says, she's nuts. And if her client's anything like her, I don't want anything to do. Let's go, we'll go find, and I'm like, okay. And I'm like, I was okay with that, and lo and behold, we went and bought that place for $100,000 more. So I was really happy,
Yeah. Well, it's funny because you can't make half of the stuff up. It's
No, right.
like I seriously, I think when I get done with all this, I'm gonna write a book. I mean, obviously sans any names, but
Right.
it's funny. Some of the things that I go through on a daily basis, I'm like, did that really just happen?
Right.
Like you feel like you're being punked, like Ashton Kutcher's gonna come jumping out of the corner, and I'm
Right.
like,
What
are
the
you
hell?
freaking kidding me? Yeah, this is
I
my
know.
life.
Pretty interesting. Definitely an interesting world,
It is.
So, and the lending side is similar, but there's differences. Like I don't have to do the running around,
Yeah,
but
that's
I get the burden of getting it done. If I say I can, then something goes wrong. You're like, uh-oh, and our biggest issue is literally, getting the buyer to give us their paperwork.
oh
like,
yeah.
It's like, they're like, why do you need that? I'm like, well, because you got 3% and the other guy's got 97%. And the guy with 97%, he gets asked all the questions he wants. It's just that
Yeah.
simple. See, a
Yeah,
buyer thinks they're borrowing money, right? The guy with
Mhm.
97% says, oh no, I'm buying a house. It's like, it's perspective.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I really don't feel like I would be made for a lending position.
Right.
I just, I'm good with what I'm good with, and that I don't think is one of them. I don't think I have
Yeah. I mean,
that.
I'm good. I'm okay with some parts of it. It's the administrative stuff that, as I'm building and growing, I mean, at some point I'll have, full-time
Yeah,
staff. I mean, I'm just getting going. And
yeah,
so, but it's in the meantime, I have to be that staff, and I'm like, oh, it's just like,
yeah.
I hate it with a passion. I'm like, I got money, I got credit cards, anybody looking for work here.
hmm
So, but it's weird too in mortgage because, like to change companies, like if you change a real estate broker, you just go online, click, done. Right
Yeah.
there, it's like, oh my God, they had this whole onboarding process. They do a background check. I'm like, I just did one. I mean, I got my license, I did a background check, and then like 3 weeks later, I'm joining a mortgage company and I got to do another one.
It's like
I'm
paying
like,
taxes.
yeah. I'm like, all this and like, are you kidding me? You know, I'm like, I have licenses, I've been fingerprinted and frauded. I mean, I feel like, whatever, but anyway, yeah, and
Everything
then,
short of your blood type, huh?
yeah. And then, it takes like a week and a half just to get you onboarded. I'm like, man, you guys need help. you know some of them are
Yeah.
like, I'm not too confident. I'm like, I hope you process loans better than this, because this is not good.
Yeah.
And what you
Yeah.
get is in the large companies, you have each department send you this 20 emails, and in their mind they're done. i'm like
Right.
I'm like, I mean, how about a checklist? How about like a spreadsheet that I can look at that and go, oh, I still got to do that. I don't know what. I mean, they're like, well, we sent you an email. I'm like, yeah, you and 15 departments sent me an email. I don't know what's left. I'm like, man, I'm like, this is terrible onboarding process. You
Yeah.
know, You know, when I have onboarding, I have spreadsheets or color coded. You know, if I I can do the drop down from yes to no. When it's yes, it turns green. I can look at it and see all the pink and say, I got to work on all the pinks. You know, I mean, it's just easy, you know?
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah.
well, believe it or not, we're a little over an hour.
Oh, wow. That went pretty quick.
Yeah. Huh?
Yeah, I get to head to a listing appointment after this. So
Yeah. I
yay.
got 4 or 5 calls that came in, you know,
I know,
so
you know what, I know I kept on going like this. I was like, because I had to switch to my phone. I'm
right.
like, gosh, I just keep getting text messages. There's probably 30 or 40. I'm like,
Right.
you
Yeah. That's the
start
way
to
it
get
goes.
anxiety. Yeah.
Was there anything I didn't ask that I should have?
No, I think it went really well. I feel like, we covered a lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm probably not the most interesting guest, but I'm happy to be here.
Oh, you'd be surprised. If you're productive, you're interesting because you have the stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's the
Good point.
non-productive people that don't have many stories.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
we have an abundance of stories.
Yep.
There's no lack of stories.
No. No, in circumstance, I thought we should, like, I think a real estate office would make a good sitcom,
Oh my gosh, it would be the best. I
because you have
know, I
all the stories you can bring in, because you can bring in any untold stories,
yeah.
you
I
know.
heard they're doing one in Salt Lake City for real estate. I
Is
felt
it a
like
reality show type thing or no?
yeah,
I'm
that's what
talking about a sitcom,
oh,
you got
oh,
the old guy that sold houses 40 years ago. He's always drinking coffee, you know what I mean? You got the
yeah.
kind of the receptionist girl that kind of runs the show,
Yeah, that would be good, better, a sitcom.
because the agents can bring the stories in,
Yeah,
you know.
that's a good idea, actually. Maybe that should be your new
No,
endeavor.
yeah. Yeah, I got 2 businesses right now I'm working on, so I'm good.
I'm good on the hobbies and the businesses. That's
I mean,
fun.
once I get them both up and running and I have other people managing them, then, we'll see. So
Yeah.
it's all about getting other people it's about building it up and duplicating yourself. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Then you have a business. Like I said, with real estate, you either have a business or a job. But I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a really good job, but it's a job
Yeah.
nonetheless. And I'm
Yep.
interested in a business, not a job.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
So anyway, well, I'm going to sign us off. So unless you have anything else to add, I apologize for that.
No,
Okay,
everything is great. Yeah.
great. Well, thanks for joining us, Stephanie Aragon. So what a wonderful guest. And I'm Rob Aubrey, your host here of productiveagent.com, which is powered by Aubrey Home Loans. If you ever need anything, just reach out. We're here. If you can't find me, you're not looking. So anyway, so thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Rob.